Right, hello everyone. So I need to now mute you all. I need to remember how to do all of these things, don't I? Um, oh, that's good, she says, and now I'm like, where is it? Everything's in different places. Of course, like everyone else, I practice this on the weekend, but only with one person. When there's lots of people, it's completely to audio settings. Is that it? Oh, oh no! Who can remember how to mute all?
Looking.
Never done it.
That
We'll
one
have
at the bottom.
different permissions to us because you're the organizer.
If you go into participants, it should let you do mute all, maybe, Angela, because it says I can mute me on that.
Oh, well done, clever. Yes, that's exactly it. Thank you. Right, so you're all being muted now. Super. Let me just again pin so that you can see me. And I will go back to my view that I like, where I can see you all in gallery. Right, good, that's worked, I think. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. I think we're all going to have varying levels of enthusiasm, energy, and flexibility this evening. I speak for everyone, but that's kind of where I'm at. So, no expectation. And as always, do what feels right for you. And if there's a move that maybe you used to do and felt quite comfortable in, but maybe tonight you do it and you think, oh, actually, that doesn't feel right to me, then just notice it. And then if you wish, you can message me later and you can say, why it felt different for you, why it felt unusual for you. The reminder will always be mild discomfort is good because it's pushing you out your comfort zone. Pain or burning heat is never good. So never kind of go beyond the point where you're just having that sense of mild discomfort. So I don't want you all to get too comfy. I know it's an evening session. We're all going to start on our feet. So let's get up to standing. And I'll find my position. Brilliant. So we're going to come into a very familiar, very easy mountain pose. I just wanted to recap really how we get into the best mountain pose for your body. I'll remind you that the choices are either to stand with the insides of the feet together. So that often means that the bony parts of the feet are touching, that the ankles are touching. I personally don't find this variation very comfortable for my body. I need to allow space for my little bit wider than average hips. So I tend to just draw the heels until they're hip width apart, then line up the insides of the feet so that they're parallel. I want you to just gently lift your toes from the floor. So you're really feeling that spreading through the soles of the feet. And I want you to try, if you can, to spread your toes, to create a little bit of space between the toes. I always demonstrate with my fingers because my toes aren't actually very flexible. And then we're going to try and slowly release the toes one by one back down onto the mat. Until we've got that big toe pressing in towards the floor. And then we're gently leaning back into the heels so that we can feel the weight evenly spread between the feet. So already just becoming aware of how our feet connect to the mat, you'll notice there's a little bit of heat, a little bit of muscle work happening in the calves, around the knees, and possibly in the thighs as well. When we're in this mountain pose, it's important to keep the knees soft. Try to avoid locking the knees out, particularly those of you who stand up a lot in your job, because locking the knees out is something that becomes a bit of a habit every day. So keep those knees soft. And imagine that rather than leaning into or leaning forward into the pose or leaning back away from the pose, try to imagine that your hips are kind of center in your body. I think it helps to visualize tucking the tailbone under, gently drawing the hips up and in, and feeling as though you're almost drawing the tummy button in towards the spine. So that creates a little bit of action in the lower abdominal area, Creates that little bit of warmth again, just to say we're switched on. I haven't done this for a long time. Let's have a little squeeze of the buttocks. You should find that your buttocks are soft here. If your buttocks are hard, you're trying too hard. Remember to relax and release and engage in the core, in the thighs, and feel that almost like a grip through the soles of the feet. Lovely. Now let's line up the back of the head with the back of the heels. Imagine the top of the head parallel to the ceiling, the underside of the chin parallel to the floor. And you'll be aware by now, if you're one of those people that tends to lead with the chin, that often shows itself in the shoulders, having a little bit of curvature in the shoulders. So be mindful of pushing that chin back in, called retracting the chin. That length from the back of the head to the back of the heels. Perfect. And then we're just going to take a moment to just create some breath through the body. So take a deep breath in through the nose, a longer breath out through the mouth, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. On that next inhalation, draw the shoulders up towards the ears. On the exhalation, shrug the shoulders away, let them become heavy. Deep breath in, draw the shoulders up. On the exhalation, shrug the shoulders away. Now let's give the fingers a little wiggle, make sure they're awake. Come back to the toes, give them a little wiggle. Gently mobilise the wrists here. It's nice to draw little circles in towards the body. Take those circles the opposite way. Then we'll gently bring the hands in to make just a gentle fist to begin with. Then again, that inhale to draw the shoulders up with the palms in fists. Then an exhale, open the fingers, release the shoulders away. A little bit of a stronger fist as you inhale, draw up. Exhale, open the palms, throw the shoulders away. One more time, inhale. Exhale, releasing tension, let it go. Good. So keep that hip width distance, keep that nice softness in the knees. Let's now bring the hands up to about chest level. So a little bit lower than the shoulders, palms facing in towards one another, keeping that nice gentle hollow in the lower of the back. So now that we're extending the arms forward, try not to lean forward with that nice line through the body. Then again, we'll just wiggle the fingers here. Then we're going to turn the palms up towards the ceiling. Then we'll take the right palm, turn it down. Keep the left palm up. Then we'll do the opposite. Right palm up, left palm down. Now both palms facing down. Once more making those fists with the hands. And now in this fist action, I want you to draw the shoulder blades together, pull the shoulder blades down, draw the tummy button in. Try not to hold the breath, just keep that posture. I just want you to feel that the tummy muscles are working, the thighs again might be switched on. There's a little bit of engagement there in the biceps. And then as you exhale, release the arms, just let them drop down by your side. Lovely. Let's take the feet a little bit wider now. So we're going to take the little bit wider than hip distance, probably shoulder distance. And then I want you to turn the toes out. Again, we're keeping those knees nice and soft. And now we're going to extend the arms out. Palms facing down to begin with. And repeat that action of drawing the shoulder blades together, lifting through the sternum, drawing the tummy button in. Again, just focusing on the breath here. Every out breath a little longer than the in breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Now let's allow a little bit of slack in the knees. So start to take your body weight down, coming into almost like a plie type shape. We don't want the knees to be too hyperextended here, so let's not drop the hips too far. Let's just stay in this position here, warming the inner thighs. We'll gently lift the right heel from the floor. A little bit more engagement happening in this inner thigh. Then lower that heel down. Switch to the opposite side. Lower that heel down. Starting to get warm now, so keep that core engagement. Avoid leaning forward. Inhale, lift the right heel and hold. Exhale, squeeze that heel slowly to the floor. Take it over, inhale, left heel lifted. Exhale, squeeze that heel to the floor. Now let's try to lift both heels from the floor. Pause and hold, spreading the thighs, engaging the core. Then exhale, heels back down to the ground. Push into the soles of the feet and lengthen. Hands up if that felt rock hard. Thank you for being honest. Heel toe the feet back in towards that hip width distance. A little bit of mobilization in the ankles now. So similar to what we've just done where we've lifted a heel from the floor, we're almost going to walk through the feet. So lift the right heel, bending the right knee, then transition to the opposite side. So it's like you're walking on the spot and just taking your weight from one side to the other. Lovely. Both heels down. Then we'll take all of our body weight into the balls of the feet. So lift the heels from the floor. Just observe your balance here. Again, no judgment, just awareness. Then lower the heels to the floor. Really tune in now to the soles of the feet. That sense once more that you're almost like sucking the floor up through the soles of the feet. Get your balance down through the left foot as you inhale and lift the right knee. I'm going to turn side on so you can see it. So the right knee should be lined up with the hip. We don't need it up here. We don't want it down there. Nice 90-degree angle. Then inhale to point the toe. Exhale to flex. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex. Then as we did with the wrist, we're going to draw little circles. 3 in towards the body. And 3 away the opposite direction. Lovely. Keep that sole of the foot parallel to the floor. Then as you exhale, lower the foot, transition your weight into that right foot and lift the left knee. So again, you're just setting up for a nice easy 90-degree angle. We'll begin by pointing and flexing through the toe. Not unusual here to get lots of creaks and groans in the ankle. Then draw little circles, 3 in towards centre. Take 3 the opposite way. I'm cheating, I've got a wall next to me. Engage the core. Replace that foot to the floor. Lovely. So I'm going to stay side on because you'll see the shape better. I'm going to take the sit bones back. So when I say we're bending the knees, what we want to avoid doing is travelling the knees forward. Instead, we want to push the bottom back, try to keep the knees anchored over the heels, and come into a seated chair pose. Now it might help your body to again widen the feet a little bit. So don't get stuck with your feet too close together and feel like you're wobbling about. Find the angle that's right for you. Extend the arms forward. Again, palms facing inwards. Try to keep a nice diagonal line from the back of the head to the back of the tailbone. Extend and lengthen through the fingertips. Push through the sit bones. Focus on the breath. One further full deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. On the next inhalation, bring the palms of the hands together. On the exhale, draw the hands in towards the heart. On the inhale, push down into the soles of the feet. On the exhale, lift the arms up overhead. Let's anchor the ears between the arms. A few of you have mentioned a little bit of shoulder stiffness to me. So I'm just going to work on shoulders for a moment. As you exhale, engage the core. Bring the hands back down to heart level. Lovely. I'm just going to face forward again. We're going to do some gentle shoulder mobility. So we're finding that it's not uncommon for women to get shoulder impingements, to find that they get a little bit of limitation in the joint. But we're also kind of, from a strength perspective, we can overload the shoulder very easily. So we're just going to do some actions to help loosen the joint, but I don't want you to feel that that means that you then have to go through full range of movement. Stick with what's right for you. So lift that right shoulder up towards the ear. Then as you exhale, just let it go. Inhale, lift the left shoulder up. Then as you exhale, release. Let's have both shoulders up. Exhale to release. Then a little bit more control as we inhale to lift the shoulders up, roll the shoulders back, draw the shoulders down back into that original position, then bring the hands behind. We might not all be able to reach the hands behind. We might not be able to clasp. So it might be more comfortable for you to grab a wrist. If you have a sock to hand and you're not quite making that gap, draw the shoulder blades together, lift through the sternum. And then just by tiny little increments, let's just gently draw the hands away from the lower back, keeping wide through the chest. Avoiding again pushing the chin forward, keep that chin retracted. Then gently release the hands back into the lower back, lovely. Reposition the hands onto the hips. Knees remain soft. Rather than bending the knees this time, we're just going to take that 90-degree angle into the hips. So fully extending forward. And we're just going to pause, making this right angled shape. So for those of us who are tight in the hamstrings and into the calves, this is quite hard. So we're not going to push it. We're going to extend through the sternum. You might want to imagine that someone's pulling the top of your head to keep that length through the spine. Then gently press a little bit more deeply through the sit bones. If you're not getting much of a stretch here, some of you are very flexible in the hamstrings, you might want to consider lifting the tailbone, pushing down into the soles of the feet. Again, having that little walk through the feet, so lifting the right heel, bending the right knee, a little bit of release there. Then transitioning to do the same on the opposite side. So just walking from one side to the other. And coming back down. Pressing through the sit bones, lifting the tailbone, lengthening through the chest. Extending the arms forward again. Ears between the upper arms. I like to link the thumbs together. It just gives me a little bit more purchase to extend and lengthen. Imagine I've got my hands on your hips and I'm gently drawing your hips back towards the back of the room, lengthening. Then on the out breath, keep the knees nice and soft and just encourage your body to come into a natural, comfortable fold. We call this ragdoll position. So it's quite an easy one to visualize. We're just hanging in the space. You might be able to get your fingertips to the floor. You might find the backs of the hands come to the floor. You might even be able to get the palms of the hands to the floor. If you've got your central heating on, you might be a little bit looser. Try to keep that chin tucked under so that we've got length in the back of the neck. If at any time you feel dizzy, bring the hands back onto the thighs. Keep looking down at the floor and just gently lift your gaze a little bit further ahead. If we're still in ragdoll position, wrap the hands around the elbows. And we're just going to take that weight over to the right, come back to center, take it over to the left, come back to center. Reposition the palms onto the thighs. For now, we keep the gaze just in front of the toes. Exhale, draw the tummy button in. Inhale, push into the thighs, lift the chest, keep looking down. Then roll the shoulders back and down. And at the very last, lift your gaze and look forward. So depending how you've positioned yourself, you might find it easier to walk towards the front of your mat for this next posture. We're going to be stepping into the length of our mat. Hands on the hips again, extending the right foot back. So I always pause at this point. I think it's useful to make sure that both toes are traveling in the same direction. And when I say that, what I mean is the back toe isn't turned out, which is quite natural. So let's try and bring the insides of the feet parallel. Then slowly start to release that back heel to the floor. Spread the toes of the left foot, so we're not putting all the action through the back leg. Then on an out breath, notice how we're sinking no deeper than a 90-degree angle on this front knee. And because we've got that back heel down, we get that nicely satisfying stretch on the back of the calf. Bring the hands to an Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. Engage the core. Keep those shoulders relaxed and down. Unclench the tongue. Then lift the arms up overhead. Again, if this is causing you any discomfort in the shoulders, keep your arms extended forward. It's still the same intention. I'm trying to open through the heart center. Extend the weight into the ground. Then on the out breath, keep that core engaged, bring the hands back to heart. Inhale to widen through center again. Then exhale to hinge forward. We'll just bring the fingertips towards the floor. Again, I will mention body shape here. Those of us who are a little bit bustier, shall we say, it's quite difficult to get into this posture because you're stacking your boobs on top of your bent leg. So you can either push them to the inside of your knee or find some, I can't do the bit where you do your cleavage on the knee, that doesn't work for me. Find the one that works for you. Then on the out breath, drop that back knee to the floor. Come onto the top of that foot. So there's no balancing, there's no hanging around. We're opening into the hip flexor here. And when you feel that you've got your balance, you can come back up into an upright position. So position 1 is here with the hands at the heart. Position 2 is a little bit kinder on the shoulders, arms extended. Position 3, if you choose to take it, again, I prefer thumbs interlocked. Lift the arms overhead. You can lift your gaze to the thumbs, opening the heart center, keeping that tailbone tucked under. Then on the out breath, engage the core, draw the hands back together, then hinge forward. Let's take that front leg back so that we come into an all fours position. Is everyone okay on their knees? That's often, yeah, good, 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 good. So cramp often sets in this position. Thursday nighters will remember that I always used to get cramp when I came into this position. I did this thing, a shaking dog impression. Great way of getting rid of cramp. So I'm going to keep the toes turned under. Engage the tummy button in. Gently draw up, pulling the tummy button to the spine, rolling through the spine, tucking the chin under. Then the reverse of that, rest on the tops of the feet. Inhale to lift the sternum forward, lifting your gaze, keeping the elbows soft. So in proper time, exhale, roll the toes under, roll up through the spine, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale, lift the sternum forward, rest on the tops of the feet. Transitioning from cat stretch, meow, into cow pose, moo. See, that's the bit I know that you've all missed really. the sound effects. Come back up into that lovely, gentle, soft, low back, neutral spine position. Let's just take the right foot back, turn the toe under, start to encourage that heel towards the floor, back into that lovely space at the back of the calf. Just checking in on elbows here. Over the years, I've shouted at you, stop locking the elbows, relax the elbows. Then draw that right knee in, take the left foot back, turn the toe under, push through the heel, and that little bit of a stretch on the left side. Then bring that knee in. Lovely. So we're going to end up back at standing again, coming through the transition that we did on the way down. So this time you're going to take your right foot forward. So we're opening into that left hip now, pressing that back shin to the floor, just checking in that the knee isn't rolling inwards. Largely wants to be over the second toe if possible. Position 1, hands to heart. Position 2, extending the arms forward. Position 3, if you have the mobility in the shoulders, locking the thumbs together, lifting the arms overhead. And if it works for you, taking your gaze up towards the thumbs and just finding a little bit more space in the upper thoracic spine. Then as you exhale, engage the core, bring the hands back to center. Hinge forward again, just supports the lower back. Turn that back to under. Lift that back knee. Slide that back foot in. And we're going to go straight into the next lunge. So heel can either be up or down as you come into this standing lunge. Requires a little bit of balance, a little bit of concentration. Reposition the hands on the hips, engage the core, push into that front leg and step both feet together. Good. Nicely done. And again, just to release the lower back, let's bring the palms. So we're kind of going to flatten the palms above the bottom, push them into the lower back. Keep the soles of the feet pressed to the floor, engage the chest, engage the core, lift the sternum, look up, draw the elbows together. Big deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale, hands to the hips. Hinge forward. Come back into that protractor or whatever we called it earlier. 90-degree angle. Pushing the sit bones back. Extending through the sternum. Softening the knees, engaging the core. Inhaling to push into the soles of the feet. Lift the upper body up. And if ever you feel dizzy, remember, last thing to come up is the head. So let's just try a little bit of balance, see how we go. So we've already done standing on one leg. Let's do a proper yoga pose and just see how we fare with it. If you think that for this session you'll be happier near a wall, then by all means reposition yourself, or a radiator, that's a good height. We're simply going to do a tree pose. So I'm going to offer you two versions of the tree pose this evening. The first one's the easy one that keeps you grounded to the floor. So if we start in a nice solid mountain pose, peeling the right heel from the floor, rolling that knee out, and then take a moment here to reset. Often when we take the knee out, the hips kind of follow, the shoulders follow. We want the shoulders and the hips to be facing forward, but we still want to get as much external rotation going in this inner thigh as we can. Slide that heel, the right heel, just above the left ankle. Your choice whether your hands are by your side, on your hips, at your heart center, overhead. It's not really proving anything if they're overhead in this posture because you're connected to the floor. Beautiful. So even by doing this easier option, And what I'd like you to notice is the activity that's happening around the buttock, in the inner thigh, in the core. If we're doing it properly, this should feel as though we're actually working quite hard. If you want to test balance, the next action would be to slide the sole of the foot up, no higher than the knee. So we don't want the heel on the knee joint. I like to imagine that the curve of the foot, the arch of the foot, is hugging my calf muscle. And then when we get in this position, I quite like taking the knee a little wider again. And then this is where the arm position might come in to help you. So sometimes taking that overhead position can help with balance. Some people find taking their arms to the side help with balance. Grabbing hold of the opposite ear might help your balance. I don't know. Then when you're ready, roll that knee back to center, replace that foot to the floor. And we'll try the same on the other side. So this time again, we're peeling the opposite heel from the floor. Drawing that heel to just rest above the ankle joint. Checking in, hips and shoulders are facing forward, knee is fully extended, lifting and lengthening out the standing leg. Arm position, whatever's comfortable for you. And then in this side, we're going to be a little bit more precise about holding the posture. So I'm going to ask you to find what we call a drishti point. A drishti point is a focal point. It would be helpful if that focal point was just a little bit further than your mid-range vision. So take your focus a little bit further down the room. Bring your full focus to that point. And when you're ready, slide that sole of that foot up, coming into your tree pose. Choosing the arm position that works for you. And this is your practice, so there's no right, there's no wrong. And just notice. Notice if you're breathing. Notice where you're moving. Notice if you're using your toes on the supporting foot. Try to keep them spread. Then as you exhale, engage the core, roll that knee towards center, replace the foot to the floor. Perfect. Now let's bring the hands down by the side, knees nice and soft. Again, I prefer that nice soft position through the hips. Inhale to lift the arms overhead. Then exhale, imagine that you're pushing your breath back down. So inhale, you're lifting up. Exhale, you're pushing down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, push down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Freestyle it. 2 or 3 more of these breaths. When we come to the next breath, when I say go, I want you to say one word that will cheer you up. Don't know what it's going to be. On go, go, knickers. I don't know why I thought of that word, but it cheered me up. I'm just going to laugh to myself here. One more time. Inhale. One more word. Peas. Lift up. Then lower the hands back down by your side. Lovely. So the shoulders might be feeling a little warm now. So squeeze the shoulders up. As you exhale, release, let them go. Now remember that point about not pushing the chin forward. Let's keep the chin retracted. Follow the nose rather than the chin. And take your gaze all the way over the right shoulder. Now lower the chin down towards the shoulder. Then trace the line of your collarbone. We're going to end up with the gaze all the way over the left shoulder, underside of the chin parallel to the floor. Then exhale, gently lower the chin, trace the line of the collarbone again. Take it all the way back to the right, even if you get that crunchy sound at the back of your neck. One more time, trace it all the way to the left. Oh, crunch, crunch, crunch. Release the chin down. This time we're going to stop in center. I'm just going to let your chin hang there for a moment. Then inhale, draw the shoulders up. Exhale, roll the shoulders back and down. Inhale, lift the sternum as you lift the head. Keep those shoulder blades drawn together. Beautiful. Another bit of mobilization for the shoulders. Two options again. So we can either stay here at this lower shoulder level, as we just practiced drawing 3 circles forward, 3 circles back. Or if you have a little bit more room in the shoulders, you can take those circles overhead. So 3 forward, 3 back. And you all know me well enough to know that life is just not that easy. So we're going to start either overhead or arms extended in front, if that's correct for your shoulder mobility. We're going to take the right arm forward, the left arm back. So the right arm, set it off, the left arm, take it back. So these should be going opposite ways. It shouldn't be swimming the crawl across the channel. All the thinking in the world doesn't make this easier. Bring the arms overhead again. Let's just completely scramble your brain. Opposite way. So the opposite arm comes forward, the opposite arm goes back. Ooh. Does it help if you stick your tongue out? Lift both arms overhead, engage the core, make that Anjali Mudra overhead. I need to shrink myself a little bit. Then as you exhale, draw the hands back to heart. Lovely. Take your hands back down by your side. Give it a little shake, 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 shake. Stand with the feet a little bit wider again than hip width distance apart. Sink into those knees once more. So not quite a squat, not quite a plie, but a little bit more weight in the trunk, as we say. Then we're going to take the hips up to the right and take them to the left. So we're swinging our hips, ladies, getting all that juicy flow back, swinging from one side to the other. And again, life is never that easy. Let's have a double swing. So hitch, hitch to the right. Then a hitch, hitch to the left. It's like hula dancing. Over one side, then the other. We'll slightly change the shape now. We'll keep it single, but we're going to draw a figure of 8. So figure of 8 using the hips. Beautiful. So you might have worked out that the more you bend your knees, the more space you find in the hips, in the inner thighs. Beautiful. We just need some like funky 70s porn music now and we're done. Come back into center. Gently bring your body up to upright and step the feet together. Lovely. Let's come down onto the floor. We've actually done the majority of this session standing. How good. So come into a seated position. I'm going to go for Baddha Konasana because then it kind of stops, coming into a cross-leg position is often not comfortable. So soles of the feet together, and it's your choice whether you keep the feet extended forward. It's a little bit more pleasant on the knees, on the hips, or you can play about drawing the heels a little closer. You might want to take hold of the ankles. You might want to take hold of the feet, and then just let the knees release. So just gently widening the knees. But when that widening comes, there's kind of like a sense of leaning into the space and letting go of control in the core. So remember to lift and lengthen out the sit bones, draw the shoulder blades back, engage the core. Perfect. Then visualize as you inhale that you're just squeezing the knees together. As you exhale, release them apart. Inhale and exhale. One more time, inhale and exhale. Beautiful. So now we've created that little bit of room. Let's just take the feet a little wider. So we're going to come into a wide leg posture. So this is another common grumble that I hear is lower back. Sometimes that lower back pain can create sciatica. So it almost feels like a trapped nerve and you get shooting pains down your leg. Coming into this lovely wide leg pose is a really nice way of releasing that pressure. When you're standing, the spine is creating all that weight just at that point where you're holding the tension. So when you're in this position, you're giving the space through the back of the hips, you're lengthening through the spine, and you can slide your hands gently down through the front of the shins, extending the sternum forward. And you know what I'm going to say, in an ideal world, what we'd like to see is a diagonal line from the back of the head to the tailbone. So if in your desire to get closer to the floor, you're conscious that you're doing this, rolling the back and kind of dropping the head down, just give yourself a little bit of a moment to lengthen, to lift, and extend from here rather than dropping the head. So the chest comes forward, keeping those toes lifted. That's where the magic is. Beautiful. And we've all got varying levels of flexibility, but it might be that you can reach the ankles. It might be that you can find the toes. Some of you might be able to bring your hands to the soles of the feet. Again, I'll remind you, don't do that at the cost of that lovely lengthened spine. And as you exhale, keep that core engagement. Hands will come safely onto the shins. And as we inhale, we're walking the hands back up so that we lengthen again. Lovely. I'm just turning to change my position for you. So a little bit of a hybrid now between a wide leg fold and a Baddha Konasana. Take your right foot, bring that to the inside of the left thigh. So we're allowing that right knee to roll open. The key is keeping this left foot switched on, so the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. I quite like to imagine that I'm driving the foot away. So sometimes, but I've got quite big calves, so sometimes the back of my thigh is barely touching the floor. It's okay for the back of the thigh to be slightly lifted. Avoid, if you can, lifting that left butt cheek off. So keep both sit bones nicely, evenly weighted. Now bring the hands in front of that right leg. Then as you exhale, again, we're coming into a little walk forward. So think about the shape that you're making through the spine. Think about that lovely length. And with every out breath, your intention is to just bring the elbows a little closer to the floor. So it helps, particularly for those of you who are a little bit hyper extended, which we know about, it helps that you don't turn your elbows out, that you keep drawing your elbows down towards the floor, because that helps with the weight distribution. Now, because we've all kind of gone, oh, I'm quite competitive now, I want to do that, I want you to check in with that left sit bone. Has that popped up off the floor? Oh yeah, right. Sort it out. Beautiful. Now engage the core, push down into the palms of the hands, walk the hands back towards that ankle. Extend now the right leg, bring the left foot in. And again, when you change position here, I want you to notice it's going to feel different on both sides. So if you got quite far on one side, please don't assume that it will be the same on the other. We're going to find it feels tighter in different places. So once more, lift and lengthen out the sit bones. Then as you exhale, start your little walk. Yeah, see, this is my nemesis, this side. If you find that you're making nice gurney faces, then you're doing it right. Then as you exhale, keep those elbows tracking towards the floor. Shoulder blades drawn together, so we don't lose control in the shoulders and the head. We keep everything nice and lengthened. And as you exhale, engage, walk the hands back towards. Lovely, perfect. So when we now come back into this wide leg fold, I want you to lift and lengthen out the center, and then again, just take that little walk forward. Because we've done one leg at a time, the body's now a little bit more primed, and this just should feel a tiny bit easier. There might just be an extra ½ inch in there. And trust me, ladies, when we get to this age, ½ inch makes all the difference. In many ways. I can tell the mucky ones. Then as you exhale, engage the core, push down into the hands, walk the hands back to center. Now we're going to slide the feet together. Again, I'm going to admit that I cannot bring my feet together because my hamstrings would scream at me. So I'm going to keep that little bit of a hip width distance. You do what's right for you. I'll turn side on so you can see all my bad habits, lifting and lengthening out of the sit bones. Now we did a lot of this standing. It's a lot more challenging sitting because there's, when you're up in mid-air, you're not pushing into a surface. When you're sitting, there's nowhere to hide. So let's start with that idea of extending the arms forward, keeping the shoulder blades drawn together. So we're always lifting out of the sit bones. Then as you exhale, let the fingertips draw you forward. Watch again what happens with the spine. You want to keep that nice length. Then as you exhale, hinge a little bit more deeply. Keep pressing through the fingertips. So I know that for me, I'm happy lining up the fingertips with the toes roughly. I can keep them up in the air. I'm quite happy with that. Some of you who are a little bit more flexible might want to bring your hands to the toes. You might want to take your hands onto the soles of the feet. And I know there's a couple of you that might want to just on a big exhale, bring the belly to the thighs and bring the chin towards the shins. I obviously won't be joining you on that because I wouldn't be able to walk tomorrow. Self-preservation. Then as you exhale, let's keep that core engaged. That protects the lower back. Reposition the hands onto the calves, onto the shins, then walk the hands back to center. Beautiful. Relax the shoulders, a little bit of a wiggle in the legs. Who fancies a lie down now? Everyone's like, yeah, just come for the Shavasana, mate. Have a little lie down. So as you're practicing at home, you can control your environment. If you would like to light a candle, dim your lights. If you like the idea of having some background music on, then do. You become comfortable. If it's cold where you are, you might want to just have a blanket, a pair of socks to hand. I've got the heating up full blast here, so I've got to say, I am very warm. So find the Shavasana position that is most comfortable for you. I'll remind you that the word Shavasana literally translates as corpse pose. If that is within your comfort, to lengthen the legs, to soften the arms by your side, then do so. For most people, having either the knees bent or having the legs resting on a bolster or a pillow might just release a little bit of tension if you're holding it in the lower back. In much the same ways we did when we were standing, I want you to notice how your body connects with the floor. So feel that spread through the back of the shoulders. Feel that connection through the back of the hips. Notice the very natural shape of your spine. Spines are not straight. They make a delicate S shape. There's a little lift in the lower back, a little bit more weight through the shoulders. Consider the position of the hands. You might be more comfortable rested by your side, palms up towards the ceiling in a gesture of receptivity. Your choice whether the eyes are open or closed. If you keep the eyes open, let's try to blur out your focus, no distractions, so that you can take your focus inside. Unclench the jaw, soften the tongue. And just begin by checking in, taking a few moments to arrive and settle in. Your full awareness into your mind and your body. Acknowledge how you're feeling and just let that be. Gently shift your awareness to mindful breathing, being aware of breathing in and out. There's no need to manipulate the breath, just noticing the breath entering and leaving the body, normally and naturally. Reflect again on the connection of the floor, the connection of that floor with the building you're in. Whether you're in your house, whether you're still at work. Noticing the connection of that building to the earth beneath you. Now let your awareness expand to include the earth beneath you. Find that sense of being held by the earth. Give yourself fully, completely, without question, into being held by the earth beneath you. You're in a safe, protected space. You can breathe in and out with ease in your body and in your mind. Feel how the earth rises up to hold and embrace you. How wonderful to give yourself permission, knowing that there's nothing more you need to do. There's nowhere else you have to go. There's no one else you have to be. Just being held in the heart of kindness, nurtured by Mother Earth, and just being you. Now take a moment to bring to mind someone or something, perhaps a pet, that you would hold this way, the way that Mother Earth is lovingly holding you. Visualize that person that you would hold dearly. Reflect on your loved ones being held in the same way, with safety, with ease of body and mind. And connect on how the earth holds all beings, whether they're acquaintances, strangers, difficult to be around, no bias, no discrimination, no separation. Reflect on how Mother Earth holds all beings, forsaking none, whether they be small or large. Earth does not exist in a vacuum. We're connected to a solar system, a vast universe. We are all interconnected. Our bodies and the earth, the sun and the stars, we're all composed of the same matter, all joined in different ways. Allow yourself to feel into that sense of connection and interconnection, that we're all made of stardust. That sense of being home within your body, of being calm and quiet within your mind, and a true sense of belonging and connection. Now return your attention to the breath, just breathing in and out, feeling the grace of this universe. No isolation, no separation. Feeling that sense of connection, interconnection, and being fully at home in your being. Nothing more you need to do, go, get, or push away. Imperfectly perfect as we all are, resting in the heart of this universe, held by Mother Earth. Allow yourself a gentle smile. Feel how the corners of your mouth gently tug at the heart center. That sense of well-being, contentment, and gratitude. Notice once more the position of your body, your space within the room that surrounds you, the weight of your body. Gradually, gently, start to return sensation to the body. Wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, wriggling the jaw a little, wiggling the nose. Perhaps start to draw little circles with the wrists. Draw little circles through the ankles. You might want to take a long stretch through the body. You might prefer to draw the knees to the chest and roll the space in the lower back into the floor, gently rocking from one side to the other. Taking a moment to roll over to your left side. Pausing there, blinking the eyes open. Then in your own time, making your way back into a comfortable seated position. That is assuming that no one has dropped off, which has been known to happen. I think I've got most of you back in the room. I suspect a couple of you are snoozing. I know the usual suspects. Let's bring our hands together in an Anjali Mudra. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honours the light in you. Namaste. Thank you very much, everyone. It's so lovely to be back. You are welcome to unmute yourself. I shall just stop.